The Bison Basketball Show with NDSU head coaches Dave Richman and Jory Collins. The Bison Basketball Show is presented by Gate City Bank for a better way of life. And Pepsi.
Welcome into the Bison Basketball Show. Rob Hipp here as always with head coach Dave Richman. Coach, Bison 5-4 in the Summit League. Before we dig into the previous two games, how have you been?
It was good. You know, I chose a profession where 80 minutes a week can determine a week from a professional standpoint, but anytime we get an opportunity to compete, we certainly had some very talented teams come in and challenge us this weekend, and not the results that we wanted, clearly, but an opportunity for us to learn and get better as we move forward into an important week for us.
Bison were riding into the last two games on a 5-game win streak. Unfortunately, that was snapped, but as you mentioned, two tough teams, and we'll start looking back at Oral Roberts this past Thursday. We knew coming in that this was a very solid team. They could shoot the ball well, and they got off to a fast start against the Bison. Bison, though, holding their own a little bit early, but that second half was really kind of the deciding factor, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, Oral Roberts is clearly the class of the league right now. I mentioned that post-game, and you see them firsthand. They've got tremendous talent. They space the floor very well, and they play at a great pace. And Max Asmus, he's the real deal. And I thought a little bit of a false sense of security for us in the first half, where we were making shots, and certainly and clearly nothing wrong with that. But we're just trading baskets. We weren't getting those stops. And you and I joke and talk all the time about the keys to the game: defend, rebound, take care of the ball. And we did not do that for the better part of the game, in particular for the first half. And I thought, besides the start of the second half, there was a good stretch for us to cut it back to 7. But they're a poised team. They've got experience across the board, and they made us pay down the stretch.
Oral Roberts shooting 65% in that first half. But just trying to find some silver lining in these type of games. It's never fun to talk about the losses, but what teachable moments can the guys have after a game like this?
Well, I think it's about, for this game, we talked about executing the game plan, and tempo was going to be a big piece to that game plan, and we played at Oral Roberts' tempo, and not that they clearly are a good defensive team, but they don't mind playing at a faster tempo. Earlier in the shot clock, shots for us kind of lead to their offense as well. And we didn't do those things, but we also missed some opportunities. The grit plays down the stretch, where they looked like a group that was on a mission. They came in there and played like it. Now, I do want to mention, too, you can see that clip of the students in the bucket hats. So we had a great crowd, Rob, and disappointing, leave them with that taste in their mouth. But hopefully as we move forward, especially into a week where UND, a rival, is coming in, we can get some students and fans back in the shack.
Grant Nelson wrapping up with 21 points, 6 rebounds, also 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. What have you liked just about his shot selections? He's able to make those threes and really able to stretch the court out.
Well, I think it's important for Grant to just play efficiently, and that's what he does. And he's going to experience a lot of double teams and some situational things like that, and to make the right play. And you saw it. He was terrific offensively in the first half.
I think another young man that we've talked about over the past few weeks that's really stepping into a role is Joshua Stride. I like what I've seen from his play, and had 2 offensive rebounds in that ball game. How important is it for him to continue that offensive glass?
Well, Josh is just someone that really sparks an energy for us, Rob, and he's playing with that better energy. He's really been aggressive on the offensive glass, and brings a spirit to our group.
We'll move ahead and look ahead now to Kansas City. Another tough contest there on Saturday, a lot closer in this ball game, Coach. But we'll just get started talking about this one. Your takeaways from this past Saturday.
Well, you could see clearly foul trouble played an important piece in this. And when I say important in a negative way. When a guy like Damari gets in foul trouble, it hurts us. And he's been so great at taking care of the ball. And you look at this half, and Andrew Morgan was an absolute monster. And that's where we're at a little bit. We've got different pieces showing up at different times, and we've got to find that consistency. We're getting all of our pieces clicking. Lance Waddle's a guy that hadn't played much at all, came in and gave us a great spark. But going back to Damari getting into foul trouble, we had some very costly turnover down the stretch in the first half, and allowed them to gap it, and just weren't able to make some plays down the stretch, on both ends of the floor, that we need to make if we're going to win these games.
You mentioned Andrew Morgan earlier. He finished up with 29 points. Just what have you liked about his play? I know it's a complete team effort, but there has been some moments where some guys have really stood out.
Well, I was very pleased. Andrew and I had a conversation. He didn't play the minutes in the Oral Roberts game, foul trouble in the first half, just the way the game got out of hand in the second half. And I thought an immature Andrew earlier in the season wouldn't have handled that very well, and he understood the situation, responded very, very well on Saturday afternoon.
Well, Coach, always good to go back and look at these games, and now an opportunity, a few days, and then you move on. But you go through this one. Again, we talked about Morgan with 29 points, a career high for him. Grant Nelson had 15. You mentioned, too, a little bit earlier about Lance Waddles. Just what role is he really starting to fit in now?
Well, Lance is a very talented young man who spoke openly about that. And, too, as we evaluated some things from our personnel and in the direction of us continuing to move forward, we want Lance to be a part of that. And if that's going to be the case, you need to throw him in there to some situations. Let him fail. Let him learn from those fails. And succeed as well, and he did that too. I think he's got some opportunities to play multiple positions for us, and just very pleased with Lance from a standpoint of it would have been easy to hang his head, not getting some meaningful minutes for the past 3-4 games, and he responded very nicely Saturday afternoon.
Got a lot more to come here on the Bison Basketball Show. We'll step aside when we come back. Logan Campbell sits down with Jacari White. We'll be back after this.
This one's for every sports fan who just spent the entire game explaining to someone the entire game. You've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar.
A better way of life is better days off and better nights in. Better hellos and better goodbyes. With locally approved, financed, and serviced home loans, Gate City Bank makes buying a home simple. Welcome home. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life.
Your local news informs and inspires. We share your stories of sorrow and hope. The stories that entertain, educate, and engage.
Your news at 5 starts.
We record the past and reveal the future. We tell the stories of your community with local news.
Another rock and roll weekend.
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
Welcome back to the Bison Basketball Show. Over the past few weeks, Jacari White has emerged as one of the starters on this NDSU men's basketball team. WDAY's Logan Campbell walked 94 feet with White to get to know one of the newer faces for the Bison.
I'm Logan Campbell here with one of the newest players on NDSU men's basketball, Jacari White. Jacari, we're going to walk 94 feet and get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
First season here at NDSU. What are your thoughts so far?
It's been really fun. It's been a real experience. Just coming from, Florida and up here, and the weather, still adjusting to it, but, it's been fun.
Still adjusting to the weather. What do you think of snow? It's your first time seeing it, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of like, it gets on my gets in my shoes and stuff, and I see like it's salt on it and it's wet and on the floor in my room. So when I take my shoes off, I gotta like leave it at the front and stuff. So just
Jacari, what was it like when you played inside the shack for the first time this season?
I was nervous because this is a pretty big place, especially with people, and it's loud. So, but once you get all the nerves out, it's pretty, easy.
Seems like you got all the nerves out. You have emerged as a starter for this team. What made you get this confidence? And when Dave told you, hey, we're going to put you in the starting lineup, what went through your head?
Really just, I don't know. I couldn't explain it. It was just really like, I just stuck to what what I know I could do and just show what I could do. And just, he believed in me, and that's what happened.
You emerged as one of the top three-point shooters. We're at the three-point line. Let's see you take a shot. And what goes through your head before you're about to rip a three-pointer and you're like, all right, I know this one's going in?
It's going in. That's all there is to it.
Hey, there we go. Jacari, is there a favorite game that you have played in so far this season?
Favorite game? I think I'm definitely a home game. I think it was I would say the SDSU game.
Yep.
That was a fun game. Yeah.
You guys have really turned it on. You guys have won 5 in a row, have a big series coming up this weekend at home. What's the mentality heading into practice this week in these next few games?
Just sticking to what we normally do and just come attacking the day, trying to get better.
Where have you seen the most growth in your game?
Definitely, I say defense, and just a little bit on the ball. I could be like better shooter, scorer, stuff like that, but definitely I say defense.
All right, we're at 94 feet. Jacari, what do you think about Bison Nation and all that have shown up to all the games so far this year?
Hey, we appreciate all you guys. We hope to get more people out here.
Enjoyed that. Thanks, Logan. Jacari White, man, he was under pressure there. Nailed that three, Coach.
I thought that's very fitting, Rob, is number one, for him to be walking 94 feet. He's been playing 94 feet for us. He's been an impactful player on the court with his defense and picking up the ball and doing some things. He's made some big shots as well. But I think the biggest thing for me is to see Jacari and that smile. There's a young man that's been through some trials and tribulations to get to this point, and to have him be a part of our family, enjoy being a part of our family. It's really fun for me to see, as you can tell.
I think alongside Ryan Sletton, he may be one of the fan favorites now. Brings a lot of energy to this team. Just talk a little bit about that energy that he does bring.
Yeah, I go back to a couple Saturdays ago against USD, and just that spirit and energy. He was sitting down and really guarding the ball, and a young man that's got a high IQ for the game. He's got a high love and passion for the game too. And again, we talked about Lance in a situation of not hanging his head, Rob, and for Jacari to start the way he did in the season and not have some opportunities and now where he is, it's pretty remarkable, and the credit goes to Jacari.
Yeah, one final question about Jacari, of course, transferring from a junior college. How have the upperclassmen just really embraced him and mentored him?
Well, they've done a good job, but I think a big piece of that is Jacari. I mean, he's a young man that's got a great sense of who he is. Doesn't take himself too seriously, jokes around a lot, and he's very endeared by our guys, but he appreciates the opportunity here and the friendships that he's built and the brotherhood that's in that locker room.
Well, Coach, always good to hear from those players, and we'll continue to bring that on the shows. And just wanted to look ahead. UND now on the horizon, coming up on Friday. A ball club that picked up their first win here recently and continuing to show some play. It took care of them back in Grand Forks. Just your thoughts heading into this matchup.
Well, I think, again, you can see a brand of basketball that Paul is accustomed to. And they're playing better, and they did get a big win against the Kansas City team, who obviously took care of us, and they were very competitive against Oral Roberts. But as you know, this is about us, and this is a great opportunity for us to right some wrongs, and that starts this week with having a good week of practice and building some learning experiences, building off of some learning experiences from this past weekend.
Well, Coach, as always, appreciate your time. Good luck on Friday. We'll see you there. Horns up, go Bison.
There you go. Appreciate it, Rob. Thank you.
We'll step aside, take a break. Coming up, Jory Collins joins us as we switch gears and talk women's basketball. That coming up on the Bison Basketball Show.
This one's for every sports fan who just spent the entire game explaining to someone the entire game. You've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar.
This is Jack. Jack loves sports, and since he banks at Gate City Bank, he can show his spirit right on his debit card. Even better, Gate City Bank will donate $10 to his favorite local school. And when Jack's friends cheer on their favorite teams, those schools receive $10 too. Plus, Jack and his friends score every day with free ATMs worldwide. Now that's always a win. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life.
Another rock and roll weekend.
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
Welcome back to the Bison Basketball Show. Rob Hipp here, now joined by women's head basketball coach Jory Collins. Coach, always my favorite time to see you. How you doing today?
Doing good. Enjoyed a good win on the road this weekend and ready to get back after it.
Yeah, a couple of games. They're taking care of business on the road. How was that road trip for you?
It was a little long. We had a couple 3:50 a.m. Alarm clocks have to go off to travel on Wednesday and Sunday to get back. So a lot of travel for our team, but luckily no issues, and we're able to make it a smooth ride.
Splitting the games on the road here as we go back and look. We'll start with Oral Roberts. I know a tough contest there, always tough to go down there and battle those young girls in Oklahoma, but an opportunity here for your team. Just falling a little bit short in that contest in a 75-53 loss. Just your takeaways from that one, Coach.
Yeah, you know, this particular game, I was pretty concerned about it, just style of play. It was a little bit different than what we've been going against, and you try to practice that and prepare for that as much as possible. I thought we competed really hard in the first half. Second half got away from us a little bit. You know, we missed some assignments, we missed some box outs, some things we'd been pretty good at. Just didn't show up, and then on top of that, when you don't make shots, I think we were 2 of 20 robbed from the three-point line with some really good open ones. And going on the road in our league especially, you're going to have to be able to shoot a little bit to stay in those games, and just didn't have enough you know, balls go down, especially from the three-point line.
3 NDSU players reaching double-digit scoring, led by 11. She also had 2 boards, 2 blocks, and just impresses as she continues. We've continued to talk about her. What have you liked about her play as this season has went on?
Well, she plays so hard, and she's able to play for long periods and long stretches. I mean, when you watch our games, some certain things start to show up. Her ability to run the floor and get out and transition and finish has been something that's become a staple of ours, and you know, that was probably our best attribute in that particular game, was her being able to get out and run a little bit and finish some plays.
Again, Evans there finishing with 14 points, and then Taylor Brown had a phenomenal night there, 6 of 11 as she finished up with 13, and she's been that player too that has continued to mold and develop. I'll ask you the same question. What have you liked about her as she continues to grow as a Bison?
Well, Taylor's kind of you know, fallen into a pretty consistent role for us. She's been able to show up. She's finishing in league play at a much higher rate than she was in the non-conference, and just become kind of that steady presence for us at the 4 or 5 spot. And just her maturity and experience shows up on a daily basis for us.
As you mentioned earlier, it's always tough to go on the road and win, especially in the Summit. Just how did the team respond after you guys had talked to them after that Oral Roberts loss?
Well, and that's kind of been our MO. You know, what I've really enjoyed about our team, Rob, is our response to when things don't go well. How do we react to that? How do we come back the next day? Can we learn from it and move on to the next one? I was really confident that we would be able to do that heading to KC and at least play better. You know, you never know if you're going to win, but I knew we'd play a better basketball game that day, and was really glad that we did.
It was a great response as we continue to look on and remaining on the road and then traveling to Kansas City on Saturday. A victory there for your team. I'll just open up, as always, just kind of your takeaways from this one and a good win for your program.
Yeah, so Oral Roberts and UMKC, very, very similar teams. So it was great for us to be able to, you know, respond and watch some film against Oral Roberts, and then be able to try to go execute some improvements in this game, and it was a hard-fought game the entire time. A lot of scramble, different zone defenses that you're going with and against, but we had multiple players step up. Elle Evans was great again. Really got out late in the game. We put her at the top of the zone. She wreaked some havoc there, was able to get out and get some runouts. But particularly in this game, Taylor Brown went down with an ankle injury, and we missed her in the second half. Katie Hildebrandt, Abby Draper, those guys that have been role players for us, their role completely changed in that game, and I thought they responded really well.
As you mentioned just a few moments ago, Elle Evans, another phenomenal game for her. She scored a career-high 23 points. We talked about her there versus Oral Roberts. We'll switch gears and talk a little bit about Abby Draper, 9 points off the bench. What have you liked about her play?
You know, Drapes has been slowly coming on. She shot the ball from 3 really well this year, but what I liked most in this game is she got to the rim at a big time for us. Was a little bit more aggressive offensively in what they were giving us to do, and just ended up, you know, being a big difference maker for us. And obviously, I know we got Behnke coming on here. We wouldn't have won this game without her first 3 minutes of the second half. Started that game in the second half, and maybe had 3 rebounds in about 45 seconds, and just her energy and juice that she brought was probably the difference there.
Awesome. Well, Coach, as always, appreciate your time. Looking forward to continued success for your program, 7-2 in the Summit, and more games coming up as we continue on. But as always, thank you, Coach, for your time.
Hey, thanks, Rob.
We'll step aside, take a break. More to come here as we'll talk to Emily Behnke when we come back. Stay with us. The Bison Basketball Show continues after this.
This one's for every sports fan who just spent the entire game explaining to someone the entire game. You've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar.
This is Jack. Jack has a debit card from Gate City Bank. However, it looks like a little night ninja took off with his card, as they sometimes do. But lucky for Jack, he can freeze his missing debit card with the tap of his mobile app. And even if his card is stolen or lost for good, he can go to any Gate City Bank location to get a new card issued instantly. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life.
Another rock and roll weekend.
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
Welcome back into the Bison Basketball Show. Rob Hipp here, now joined by Emily Behnke. Emily, first time on. Good to have you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Got a full night of sleep last night after some traveling days, but doing well.
Yeah, well, you guys are coming off of splitting a road pair of games there at Oral Roberts. I know a tough contest, but then rebounding, taking care of business at Kansas City. What's this journey been like for you so far? You've been here a long time. You're going on your 4th year.
Yeah, so it's been a lot of inconsistency, I'd say, throughout my career, especially playing behind Emily Dietz, phenomenal player for NDSU. But this year, yeah, I've gotten a bigger role and have been able to step up a little bit and take on a bigger role than I've had in previous years.
Well, 4 seasons into it, and talking about that role and just the team in general, how have you seen this team grow? A lot of success this year, 7-2 in the Summit.
Yeah, so we have a lot of youth this year, actually, and they've been handling that phenomenally well. I think that we've been off to a great start in conference play. I mean, 7-2, that's the best that we've had since we've been in this league. So I think we're off to a great start.
When you kind of look at yourself and maybe a little bit of self-evaluation, and I know that players go through that quite a bit, where do you feel that you've grown?
I think I've just grown the most in my maturity in the game. I think my basketball IQ has gotten a lot higher with more experience, and I think that just knowing when to make certain kind of plays, just stuff like that, I think I've come a long way.
You mentioned a little bit earlier, as you've been here for a while now and a junior on this program, do you feel that there's kind of a leadership role with you now? And if so, who are you really mentoring? Who's latching on to you?
Oh, absolutely. I think that our team just does a good job with having our leaders take everybody under their wing. We have so much youth on our team this year, like I had said, and I think that, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say there's any specific people that people have to take under their wings. Obviously, your position group, you usually take under your wing as a leader, but I think that we've tried to do a good job of making sure that everybody's comfortable and knowing that their leaders have their back regardless of your position.
It's always fun to play at home, looking at some highlights here from the Shill Center. What's it like just being in front of that home crowd and Bison Nation and the energy that they bring to the court?
Bison Nation is awesome. There's so much support, especially in this program. Alumni night was amazing. Our Minnesota game, we had such an awesome crowd, and I think we're hoping that those games have really sparked a lot of interest from the community and trying to get more people out there to watch our games.
Well, Emily, the season rolls on. Does it feel like things are moving pretty quick?
Yeah, I mean, the first half of the season has gone by so fast. It's hard to believe that we only have 8-9 more games left in conference and then on to the tournament. So, yeah, I'd say the season went by really fast.
Still a lot to go, and as we kind of just talk about the future and throughout this season, I know you ladies, just like every other team, will take each game 1-0. When you step out there on the court, what do you enjoy most? What do you look forward to the most?
I look forward to being in the Bison Nation atmosphere. I mean, the culture here is absolutely, like I said, it's just the crowds are amazing. There's so much support from the community, but it's just so fun stepping out there, being with all these girls on this team. They're your family. So it's just really fun competing with some of your best friends and making memories and having an experience that's once in a lifetime.
Well, just a couple of last questions here as we're again talking to Emily Behnke. When you think of being a Bison, what does that mean to you whenever you have that title? You are a Bison basketball player.
Well, once a Bison, always a Bison. I mean, we bleed green and gold. That's what everyone always says. It's a culture. You need to have that level of intensity and pride to be able to fit into this program.
Outside of basketball, I know you're busy with your studies and everything else, but there's got to be something else that you do. What are some hobbies? What do you do off the court?
So I do have 2 dogs, so I spend a lot of time taking them to the park. I hang out with a lot of our teammates as well, but yeah, I'm a pretty low-key. I like to just kind of get my rest when I need it and spend some time with my family and friends.
All right. Well, Emily, we appreciate it. It's been a privilege getting to know you and just hear about the success. We wish you girls the best as things continue on, and I know it's exciting times to be a Bison right now.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, once again, Emily Behnke, join us. We'll step aside. That'll wrap it up. As always, we'll see you next week. Horns up and go Bison.
The Bison Basketball Show is presented by Gate City Bank for a better way of life. And Pepsi.
This has been an exclusive presentation from Learfield.
This one's for every sports fan who just spent the entire game explaining to someone the entire game. You've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar.
Teamwork. Talent. Dedication. Leadership.